What's going on, folks? Sitting out here in the man cave, back in the corner, getting ready to watch what I hope will be Coach K's 903rd win tonight. We're playing Michigan State here in a few minutes. So, if you're not a Duke fan, which I know a lot of you are not, love him or hate him, hopefully you respect him. So, getting geared up for that, and actually drinking on of all things, a Witchwood Hobgoblin. It's a dark English ale, brown ale, and it's all right. I mean, it's a good beer. I don't know why I even got. Well, I know why I got it. I was watching a episode of, or listening to an episode of Can You Brew It, and they were talking about it, and it was piqued my interest. I guess I would try something different for a change since I'm mostly an IPA guy. But yeah, Duke's warming up now. Michigan State warming up, so hopefully we can handle them tonight. But anyway, what I want to talk to you was beer competitions, and I'm gonna set this down here and see if I can keep it from falling over. I don't know how many of you have ever entered beer competitions. The only one I actually just had entered one here recently. Before that, I've only entered one competition, and that was the homebrew talk competition that Uper and some others took care of and put on. And the only beer I had at that time to send in was actually Uper's Dogfish Head 60 clone, which is what I call my frozen toes, that I've probably brewed 4 or 5 times maybe. It's probably one of my favorite beers that I brew, and I sent it in to that competition however long ago that was. I guess it was earlier this year, and it didn't fare so well. It wasn't bad. I think it was in the good range for the scores, but the problem with it was the carbonation, and it was kegged beer and bottled from the keg, and I knew the carbonation was a little low to be bottling, and since then I've learned a lot about that. But it was bottled from the keg and sent in, and that was the remarks that they got. It was a little flat, and of course when you got beer that's not carbonated well, you lose the aroma and you lose some of the flavor. So it didn't have any off flavors or anything like that. It was real clear. Appearance and everything was right on, spot on. Aroma was pretty good, but that carbonation level, I believe, is what messed me up. But anyway, fast forward to recently, one of my buddies told me about a competition. It was called it's a part of the Battleground Brewers Guild. I think I'd never heard of it. Something locally in our state, and it was the 2011 Skirmish in the Triad. And he sent me the link, and I got to think about it. I said, what the heck, I'll just enter some beers and get some more feedback, mostly looking for feedback. And you have your beers, and your friends drink your beers, your family drinks your beers, and it's always good to get a different opinion. And I thought it would be exciting, to get some people with like BJCP judges, with that qualification to judge my beer. So that's what I was looking for, is to get a different opinion. And obviously I would like to win. But really, in all honesty, I would just like good feedback on my beer. Not discounting what my friends and family and the people that are always saying your beer's good, but just to get that point of view from somewhere else. But anyway, the competition was a few weeks ago, and I ended up sending in the Dogfish Head 60 clone again, which is my frozen toes, what I call frozen toes. And mine's a little different. I do it a little different at times, or the times I've done it different than what Uper's original recipe on Homebrew Talk is. And what I do different is the hop schedule. It's a continually hopped beer, and sometimes I'll get the whole hop bill together and mix them up in a bowl and just do them, every minute or two throughout the 60-minute boil. Sometimes every 15 minutes. Sometimes I'll do the bitter and hops like they should be done according to her recipe, and then do the rest of it. But Anyway, I did it a little different that time, and sent that beer in, and also sent in Ed Wart on Homebrew Talk, his Oktoberfest recipe that I followed, and that's the it's not a true lager. It is a an ale with Kolsch yeast. So it, the people that drank it really liked it here, family and friends. I thought it was really good, and I'm not an Oktoberfest fan, but I thought it was good. It tasted good for a good non-IPA beer. And the third beer I sent in was my Pliny, the Elder clone, and there's several different ones out there floating around. I think this one come off a Farmhouse Brew Supply. They had a link to it anyway. It's an old recipe. It's like Vinny's got two recipes out there floating around. I think this one is the newer one. I want to say, I can't remember. There's two, like an older one and a newer one. And the hops came, the Pliny pack, if anybody's familiar with that, came from Farmhouse Brew Supply. All the hops, like 14 ounces of hop. So I sent that beer in as well, which is an Imperial IPA. And the competition was like a week ago Saturday, and they posted the scores on their website Monday, and I didn't win anything. So I'm like, okay, well, at least I'll get some good feedback. And they the way they did the categories, they didn't, how categories are set up. The BJCP categories, like for instance, 14 category 14 is IPAs, 14A is English, 14B is American, and 14C is Imperial. And a lot of times, depending on the competition and depending on how many entries you have, you'll have each beer will be judged in its own category: 14A, 14B, 14C, for instance. As many categories as there are for what's entered. But this one was all lumped together, so basically English, American, and Imperial IPAs were judged in the same category. So having said all that, Monday, like I say, following the competition, they posted scores. I didn't win in any of the three categories that I entered: the Oktoberfest, Marzen, or the IPAs, the two IPA and the Imperial IPA. But Tuesday, I did get my score sheets in the mail. And I'm just here to tell you, I'm not bragging on myself, but I was very pleased and tickled to death. 2 out of the 3 beers scored really well, and I have the score sheets right here. The 2011 BBG Battleground Brewers Guild Skirmish and the Triad. And I'll start with the lowest score first, and this may be very boring to you, but I was very excited, so I thought I would share it with you. Just real quick, if you're not familiar with the scoring guide, a problem beer is 0 to 13, a fair beer is 14 to 20, a good beer is 21 to 29, very good 30 to 37, excellent 38 to 44, and an outstanding beer 45 to 50, which is usually unheard of, but there are those beers out there, obviously. So the first sheet that I have here is the Imperial IPA, the Pliny clone, which to be honest with you, I didn't think, I've made that beer twice, and I didn't think it was as good as the very first time I made it, but it was still good. I thought it was really good. I didn't think the nose was there. And this batch I sent in right at the tail end of the keg, so it was about out when I sent it in. It scored the lowest, a 26.5 overall out of 2 judges, which is the good category. And I was kind of disappointed, but it's also good to get some feedback. And the only problem that the 2 judges had with it, and this is another thing with judging, most of the time you'll have a BJCP certified judge, and at least from what I've read and heard about over the what time I've been brewing, you have like for this, if there's 2 judges, you have one judge that's BJCP certified and one that's not. Sometimes you'll have 2 that are, but usually one is and one's not. One's just maybe a well, they've got here like a novice non-BJCP was the second judge on this beer. So both, and sometimes they won't know, like they'll be doing a sample on the beer and they won't know what the other one's scoring. I know sometimes they do from what I've read and heard, but a lot of times the judges, this judge is judging your beer and this judge is judging your beer, and neither one know what the other one's writing down, basically is what I'm trying to say. I don't know what the case was in this competition, so but I do know that they both had pretty much the same comments about the Imperial IPA, which was astringency, puckering, uh, lingering harshness or dryness and finish aftertaste, harshness and graininess, blah, blah, blah. But other than that, it scored 7 out of 12 on aroma, 2 out of 3 on appearance, 8 out of 20 on the flavor, 3 out of 5 on the mouthfeel, and 4 out of 10 on the overall impression, which the BJCP judge felt like it was past its prime. And but he still gave it a score of good. And like I say, after I got this, I come down here and I poured me a glass off the keg, and I felt like I could taste that astringency. So that's good for me as a home brewer to be able to get that kind of feedback, because I'm not that familiar with off flavors and what the different kind of off flavors you can have. So that was really important to me to get that, and I'll have to go back and look at I've not even done it yet. Go back and look at my recipe and what I did that may have caused that. But the clarity was great. It had good hop flavor. It wasn't as complex as they'd like. Blah blah blah. So that was that one. Like I say, I was a little disappointed in a way, but I knew it wasn't as good as the first one, and it was an Imperial IPA. So that's that for that one. The second one was the Oktoberfest. First time I ever brewed this beer, and the overall score was a 38.5, which really surprised me. Like I say, I'm not that big on non-IPAs, anything non-IPA. I just love IPAs. I love hoppy beers, but this beer had a BJCP certified judge and an experienced non-BJCP judge. And what can I say? One gave it a 38 and one gave it a 39. I hate to read all over these. The one score sheet I couldn't even hardly read. It was just not written very well, and that's one thing that sucks about score sheets, which is what happened back with the other competition I entered. I just couldn't hardly read the score sheet. It was written so bad. But this guy wrote very plain. Aroma 8 out of 12. Some malt with hint of fruit, cinnamon. Aroma could be stronger and more complex. Appearance 3 out of 3. Very clear, amber, great head. Flavor 16 out of 20. Great complex malt flavors, clean, no hops. Mouthfeel 4 out of 5. Medium, could be drier. And finish, look at mash temps or carbonation level. Overall impression 7 out of 10. Very good attempt at a tough style malt is good, but fruit detracts. Look at yeast or temperature. So there you go. And I won't read the other guys' comments. Pretty much the same thing. Overall impressions, balanced beer, which is lacking a bit in malt complexity. Needs a bigger malt complexity. Now, like I say, to get a 38.5 out of a beer that I've never even brewed this style before, which is in the excellent category, the lower end of the excellent category, tickled to death. And well, I was going to say something else, but I'll hold it for that. The third one was the Frozen Toes, just the American IPA that I've brewed several times. And this one actually had 2 BJCP judges, an experienced judge and a recognized BJCP judge. And it also got a 38.5 overall. So we got a 39 and a 38 on this one from the 2 judges. And this one actually advanced to the mini best of show round. So like I say, I was ecstatic when I looked at these sheets. I had never expected that good of scores. And when I saw the scores, I was like, what won? What kind of beers won? And I got to talking on chat with some of the one of the judges actually, and some other folks, and he was like, normally a 38, 39 beer is going to win you some kind of ribbon, but the competition was really tight and really tough, and so I would love to taste some of the beers that won. Not saying my beers were better than theirs. I just, just for the why not, I would love to see what like a 40 and above beer tastes like. But anyway, on this one, they give good comments. Overall, I won't go through the whole thing because I don't want to just get long and drawn out. 8 out of 12 on aroma, 3 out of 3 on appearance, 17 out of 20 on the flavor, 5 out of 5 on mouthfeel. Overall impression, 6 out of 10. Very good American IPA. Leaves a bitter, dry, often aftertaste that encouraged drinking more. So all three, I didn't even mention these on the other two for the stylistic accuracy. I got the best, marks on classic, example, flawless, and wonderful. So, and the other judge was 8 out of 12 on aroma, 3 out of 3 on appearance, 15 out of 20 on a flavor, 4 out of 5 on mouthfeel, and 8 out of 10 overall impression. Well-crafted beer, lacked hopped aroma, but was great hop flavor. Make this with this year's fresh hops, it could score 44. So, and got good job with a big exclamation mark. And the same marks for stylistic accuracy, technical merit, and intangibles. I didn't mention all three of those on the last one I just talked about, but classic, example, flawless, and wonderful. So yeah, man, I was very pleased, excited, and I wish the Imperial IPA had done better, but heck, man. I've been brewing 2 years. Actually, my birthday was Halloween, and my wife got me a Mr. Beer kit Halloween 2 years ago, and I started brewing with it. Made like 2 Mr. Beer batches. Then I moved up. I didn't even do any more Mr. Beer. I done like some extra. I brought some extract kits. Done I don't know, 2 or 3 maybe extract kits, maybe 1. Done some extract with specialty grains. Then I moved up to the Brew in the Bag, BIAB. Done a couple of those, and it was full on all grain after that. So for only to have been brewing for 2 years, and I don't know how many gallons I brewed this year. I was going to look to see how many gallons I'm at for 2011. I think probably from last time I looked and on what I've brewed so far, probably getting close to the 175 mark, somewhere around there. So very pleased. I love to set goals for myself, and I would love to win a competition of some sort. I think that would be a good goal to set and to reach, just because I like doing that for myself. Gives you something to work for, and keeps you on your toes, and all that good stuff. But like I say, very pleased, and there is one more competition coming up that I've entered. It's going to be December the 3rd, I think, and I can't remember all the details on it right now, so I'm not going to try to fumble through the name. It's like, well, I think it's Palmetto something. That's all I know. I know I entered it last night or a couple nights ago, and I'm going to enter my Oktoberfest. It's gone, but I did bottle a few before it ran out, before I converted over from the kegerator to the Keyser. And so I got a few of that bottled. It may not do as well. It may suck. I don't know. We'll see. But and I'm also going to enter the pumpkin spice ale that I have on tap right now. I'm going to enter it. I've got a Arrogant Bastard clone that's probably not going to be even close to an Arrogant Bastard. It's actually cold crashing right now. I got to get it kegged in the next day or so and get it carbonated up. And I've got a Bell's Two Hearted Ale clone dry hopping right now that I'm going to cold crash here in a few days and try to get it carbonated up. I debated on whether I even enter it, because it's going to be pushing it to get it carbonated and out the door. So we'll see. That'll be 4 more beers under my belt that I've got entered, and try to get some good feedback on. And we'll see. I don't want to get my hopes up since I've got these good scores for these, and then get a big old goose egg or something terrible on the others. But you never know. But I encourage you, if you want to try to enter some competitions, to do so. Like I say, if nothing else, it'll give you an idea of where you're at. If you care, I care about it, because it's just important to me. I like brewing for myself and for my family and friends, but I also want to make good beer. That's just my competitive nature, I guess. But and that's a whole another video that maybe I'll talk about. But yeah, go for it, man. For some competitions coming up, and maybe Homebrew Talk will have another competition. If any of you watch this video on Homebrew Talk, I'm probably going to post it there, since Uper's recipe and Edwards recipe helped me get these scores. So that's going to be it. I'm going to yammered long enough. Going to get me another beer poured, and the game comes on in 5 minutes. So appreciate you coming by the channel. Questions, comments, lay them on me. And that's another reason why I done this video before I started drinking, because when I start drinking, I fumble my words worse than I do when I'm not drinking. Later.